3 o'clock, everyone. Again, good to see everyone and trust that everyone is doing fine. As we know, this is our work session. It's still in the month of November, but actually this is the first one for coming up for tomorrow for the council meeting. So again, thank everyone for being here and trust everyone is doing fine. As we know, no actions is ever taken on the work session. Let's remember, are there any questions or anything we need to ask in the work session, as well as when we go over the agenda? I would encourage us, if we can do that, to please do so. And also make sure our phones are muted or turned off or whatever is convenient for you. So with that, I am calling the meeting to order. And at this time, I'd like to call on Councilman Bailey to lead us with the invocation. Councilman Bailey.
Thank you so much. We can do something a little different today. Start with just a few seconds of some silence. Give us all a chance to reflect back on our loss over the weekend of Mr. Steve Smith. We've lost others at our city, Assistant Chief Green and all, but this COVID's hit us pretty hard right where we live, right in our own hometown, right in our city family, and even in our own families. So if we could, I'd just like to have a few moments, each one of us to bow our heads and think back of what Mr. Smith meant to us individually and what he meant to our city, and then I'll finish up with a prayer. If we could, bow our heads in a moment of silence. Dear, most gracious, loving Heavenly Father, as we come to you today, our hearts are heavy again. They've been heavy before, and they'll be heavy other times after today. But each one of us reflects on what we each mean to the city, and the city means to us. We know that we've lost someone very close to us that carried a huge role in our city. He meant a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but to me, he meant a good friend that I could trust and go to and get answers, and could help me understand things that I don't understand sometimes in the way that the city works. I do appreciate him being my friend, and I call him a friend, and I'm glad that I can say that. But dear Lord, also, I bring all of us before you today as servants of our city. Let us gratefully give time. Let us gratefully give our advice. Let us gratefully work with each other and share with each other and care for each other. We have to start with our own possessions, Lord, which is what you provide each one of us with. We start in our own house in our own way, and we go out from there. We try to lead the city in the correct way, in a way that you would have us do it, which is honorable, pure, and wholesome. Don't ever let us lose sight of being servants of our city and taking care of all the people in our city and within our homes. We have a good city, Lord. We have good people in our city. We have good people that work for us. This COVID-19 pandemic has got everything so messed up that no one knows what to do, how to handle it, or how to go about. But give us the advice, give us the wisdom, show us your way, Lord. But I know that each thing that is happening through your will, and your will be done. There's no way around that. It is your will. It is your plan. We're not smart enough to know what it is, and we couldn't figure it out if you was to tell us. We have to completely lean on you by faith, know that you love us, that you granted us mercy, and you saved us by grace. Let each one of us remember that, and especially during this Thanksgiving time and this Christmas season that's coming up. Keep all of us safe as you can. Watch over our city, our state, our nation, and the world, Lord. And someday this too shall end. But let us all remember that we work together. We're a family. And families hurt sometimes, and sometimes families are happy. Right now we're going through a sad time, a hard time. But we will get through it with your help and your wisdom. All these things that I ask in the most precious name there is, Jesus Christ, my risen Savior. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve, so much. Appreciate it. At this time, Council, we do have a couple of persons who would like to address the council. Are they out there on Zoom? Brian and Emily Riley? Or are they able to get on?
Yes, sir. Hang on one second. I'm going to let them on right now.
Okay.
Okay, Mayor, they should be on there now.
Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Riley? Mr. and Mrs.
Okay,
Riley?
I'm here.
Hey, all right. I
Yeah,
see
I'm here
Miss
now.
Emily. Okay, I see Mrs. Emily. Is Mr. Brian on?
No, sir. He's watching the kids in the other room.
Well, we understand that. First thing first. But anyway,
Yeah.
we certainly welcome you. I know this is kind of different and odd, but however,
Yeah.
we're thankful for the technology, and we certainly appreciate you coming to address the council. So I would like to turn it over to you, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I want to possibly getting speed bumps or having our road shut off completely. We live behind Hardee's on the cut through road, and we have a constant battle with people speeding through the neighborhood. Like I said, I have 3 little girls, and it's just a constant speeding. We have issues backing out of our driveway because people are going so fast down the road. So I didn't know if that would be a possibility for speed bumps or possibly getting the road shut off completely to regular traffic.
Okay, and I'm gonna try to answer this, but Mr. Hunter, you feel free to correct me or Chief Smith or whomever. I would say this, Mrs. Brown, again, we thank you so much for coming on. However, with a throwaway as that road is, I don't think we can shut it off. Again, I would rely on the city manager as well as the chief of police if I'm out of line. And as far as the speed bumps, we just don't put them in the road where they're throwaway that goes through it. I think that the only thing that we can do, and that's why I refer to the chief, if I'm getting out of line, Chief Smith, as well as Mr. Hunter, is to try to have more patrol in there. Again, because of the design of the road, and it connects from 13th Street to 280 with the home. I don't think, and Mr. Hunter, am I in line to say that?
Yes, you are. And I'll let the chief finish the rest of it because
Chief
they
Smith?
got to control it.
Yes, Mayor. And when I got this request, I mean, this is not the first time that we've had complaints about this particular thoroughfare. I put some officers over there this weekend to see if we could calm that traffic. We were planning on putting some speed signs in there. We've got speed signs that we've used across town before. And I'm going to run another speed study. Last time we did a speed study in there, it averaged about 100 cars a day. It seemed like it. I know it seems like to Miss Emily there, Miss Riley, that the traffic's a lot worse because of where you live. But you would be. I was surprised that it was not as much. But with that speed study, what it'll also do is it'll tell me a percentage of vehicles that are exceeding the speed limit. That is a slow speed. We have it set for. I think it's. Let me look at my email again. In that particular location. Is it set for 25? Is that right, Ms. Riley?
It says 15.
Yeah, it goes down into that dip and then a turn at 15. I think it's 15 starts right there on top of the hill. But again, we'll look at that and adjust those speeds as necessary, but certainly, that has been a point of problem. And I understand that you live on 13th, the very first behind Hardee's, and then as it curves around, it comes back out on the 14th Street or Crawford Road. But that'll be our plan, and what I'll do is I'll make sure that we contact you or communicate with you what that speed study is, and even give you a report of how many citations we wrote. We've actually started that last weekend, so we'll see how many citations we write during this little push to try to get everybody's attention to not speed through your neighborhood.
Okay.
Ms. Riley, again, I truly thank you for, being able to come and share this with us, but I surely hope you understand what has been stated, and we hope you don't give up on us upon this city. As
Okay.
the chief said, that we are going to try to mitigate that as much as possible, and
Okay.
just keep us accountable. But I do know the chief is going to do what he said, but I certainly want to appreciate you for understanding that we just can't shut it off or put those speed bumps there. But again, we're
Okay.
going to help mitigate it. And please let your husband know so. And we do appreciate you, having the courage to come and address us, and particularly in this time where we're not face to face each other. But we are thankful for the technology. So don't give up on the city. And on that,
Okay.
we truly appreciate your understanding.
Okay. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, and call us anytime, okay?
Okay. All right. Thank y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Riley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Angel, we don't need to call upon you. Due to the holiday of last week, we didn't have a planning commission. So with that, I am going to call upon our city clerk, Melanie, to go over the December and January 2021 calendar, as well as December 2020 calendar. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Of course, we know we have our council meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. via Zoom. I do want to mention that I'll be off on Wednesday, the 2nd. Next Tuesday, we have a planning commission meeting at 5:15. The following week, we have our next work session, December the 14th at 3 p.m. Via Zoom. The council meeting will be the next day, December the 15th at 9 a.m. via Zoom. The following week on the 22nd, that planning commission meeting has been canceled due to the Christmas holidays. The Christmas holidays are December the 24th and 25th. In January, we have January the 1st, New Year's Day holiday, a work session and a council meeting on January the 4th and 5th. Both of those, I'm assuming right now, is still going to be by Zoom. We have the State of the City address coming up in January on Thursday, the 14th. We have a holiday on Monday, the 18th in January, Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. And then our next work session and council meeting are bumped over a day due to that holiday. So that'll be Tuesday, January the 19th at 3 p.m. for the work session, and Wednesday, January the 20th at 9 a.m. for the council meeting, which right now we're set to do those by Zoom.
Okay. Any question, council? Comments?
Oh, yes. I like to say this, Ms. Melody, you said you want to be off on the 2nd, which is tomorrow?
No.
No, sir, that's Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. I'm sorry. Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at something else. Oh, well, that's good. You also will get paid, because that'll be my birthday. You will be off with pay.
Arthur gonna give you a present on his birthday.
He's going to give you some extra, Melanie.
Yeah, on his
That's the way
birthday,
we
he's gonna
take
pay
that.
you. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Any other comments?
That's all I have, man.
One question. The State of the City, where is that gonna be held at?
We're going to probably
Central
be at central activity, but it's going to have to be done by Zoom, and we'll have to talk and figure all that out to see how we're going to do that. It definitely won't be where we have people coming.
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah, we're going to have to do it, by Zoom, and make it very limited to people coming. Well, no one coming basically, but basically other than some of the team members and us, but have it on Zoom, and we're going to talk more about that, and we will be communicating back to the rest of the council on that. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else, Melanie?
No, sir, that was all I had. Thank you.
Anything else, council? Any questions or comment? If not, we're going to proceed on under the city manager monthly department reports and council, as we've always done and agreed upon. And I hope it's your pleasure now that we continue to do that, that if you have any specific question instead of asking each department head to say something or speak, we would like to, for the sake of time, ask, are there anything specifically that you would like to ask, which could be all or some or none? But we would like to continue that process. And I've always started at the table on my right with Mrs. Johnson. Do you have any questions for any of the department heads?
I had not prepared any, Mayor. So at this time, no.
Okay. Councilman Gordy?
I don't have any.
Okay. Councilman Day?
Yes, sir. I have maybe one. I'd like to ask have we started that project down there on the old Seal Road, the old bridge right there, right below the fire station? Have we already started working on that? Is that right?
No, sir, Mr. Day. We have gotten the preliminary engineering agreement from ALDOT. They have released those PE funds. We have a meeting set up by Zoom on Wednesday of this week to discuss it with a consultant to see if we can start getting some mandate fee proposals.
Okay. So in other words, we were waiting on ALDOT. Okay. One of the questions, Mayor, I have, how is the Miracle Park coming along up there? On the Park and Recreation, have we started on that? The Miracle Park up here?
Mr. Hunter?
No, we haven't. That's still in the planning stages.
Okay. All right, then, Mayor, that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Bailey?
Just two or three. The first thing, I've had about a half a dozen people ask me what's going on at the Old Cobb Hospital. I saw the gas company up there putting in pipes and stuff and figured there might be something going on with the housing authority, but is there something going on up there that the city's doing that I don't know about?
No, sir, Mr. Bailey. Fire is doing a project along South Railroad Street and 20th Avenue there. They did ask to use some of the city property as a laydown yard. We gave them permission as long as they understood that if they did any damage to the property, they had to put it back to as good or better. And also the other construction activity going on up there is that Liberty Hill housing development.
Okay. That's when I told everybody. I had 4 or 5 at church ask me yesterday. Then I had 2 phone calls this morning, and that was the exact answer that I gave them, was about the gas company possibly using it for storage, and that the housing authority may be doing some preliminary stuff up there. And that the city wasn't doing anything. I just want to make sure I told everybody correctly, because I didn't know of anything going on, and I knew no one had really talked about anything. While I'm got the floor here for a second, just want to shout out to Sean and find out. I know this COVID-19 has slowed down a lot of things that the city had, possibly coming to us. Have any of the people staying in touch with you, letting you know that, the projects are still possibly going to go on, but they're going to be a lot slower, I know, materializing, and hopefully that they will. But it's kind of the 3 or 4 things we had going on in different areas of the city that still kind of headed that same direction, where it will happen eventually, just going to be a slow process.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bailey. So we've stayed in contact with all the developers, all the developments that we've been working for a little while. There's definitely been some changes in some as far as timing is concerned. Most of the projects are continuing to move forward just at a slower pace. Some of the retailers they've been working with, or they're just not pulling the trigger on developments now. They're kind of watching. Nothing has completely stopped. I think the only development that's slightly been adjusted has been the one that we're in the Kmart existing space. That one was adjusted, but other than that, everything is moving, just not as at a quick pace.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, this COVID-19 is, it's got everybody with, unknown. And I'm just hoping that some of the people that were, talking about doing things in our city, that they were still financially able to, hang through this COVID-19 to where they could, finish their plans up with us. But I know all that's understandable too. They're all taking hits just like everybody else is taking hits. So I don't expect it to be any different. I just was hoping that what you just said was going to be what you were going to say, that most everybody's still on board, still in contact with us, hadn't given up on everything. and that it eventually will happen. So that was the answer I was hoping for. So I'm glad you did that. And thank you for staying on top of the people, and what y'all do down there that you do. This is just, and Miss Angel, if you can tell me anything different. Last time we talked about the bridge on Old Opelika Road, I think you said it was hopefully still on schedule, weather, permitting, time permitting and everything, but probably still looking towards maybe the end of January, 1st of February when that bridge gets opened.
Yes, sir. We are looking into the possibility, and this rain has hurt us somewhat over the weekend, of possibly getting just the main line bridge opened up before Christmas, and then not opening Cutrate Road yet because we were still doing that culvert work there. But we'll have to wait until we get a little bit further into it to see what AlDOT is going to allow us to do. But I mean, the project is progressing. It's not, we're not over our 9 months yet that we estimated. So hopefully if we can just get some decent weather to round out this last month and a half, we can go ahead and get that project completed.
Well, good. Yeah, I know we stayed on a good schedule. Everything's working real good.
Let me say, Steve,
sure.
And that's a great segue by you and Angel. I had it here to say something to the council, FYI for the council member. I got a couple of calls last week stating that, it's been over a year that the bridge's been out and how long it's going to be in the city, moving slow and all that. But then I told the person, I said, no, it hadn't been a year. I said, I think it was the first of the year, maybe around March, but, I wasn't sure. So I did call Angel, and the exact date that they started was on March the 23rd. So we're in line with the 9 months as Angel just spoke of. So, but I guess, some people it may seem like a year to them, but just in case you all are asked, it's been way less than a year. Actually, the starting date was March the 23rd, 2020. So like Angel said, they're within the 9 months and may get behind a little bit, but it sounds like it's going to be done and finished in less than a year.
I believe that in my mind, I really believe that we're ahead of schedule and, getting it done in a good, timely fashion. And as she just stated, trying to get it open before Christmas was even sooner than what my anticipation was and what I told people, to be expecting. So I think they've done an outstanding job and kept everything moving really well, in my opinion. I understand when something's closed and you got a business, because I had to deal with the Broad Street out here at that time. But everybody in our city has to do that. But I think the engineering department and the state of Alabama's worked well with us too. Haven't seen, a whole lot going on once they were able to approve our plans for the bridge after about 3 or 4 tries. I think it's moved very well and at a really good pace. So I'm very pleased with what they've done, and that made me feel even better when she said, possibly get part of it opened up, before Christmas.
That's
the FYI,
possible, Mr. Bailey.
That's what I said, possible. I ain't gonna tell nobody that. If they zoomed in here, they'll call me, but if they didn't zoom in, they're not gonna hear it from me.
Yes.
And the FYI for the council, just in case you ask, it's been less than a year, and actually the starting date was March the 23rd. Okay.
A couple more things. This is just more for my own information with Chief Kennedy and Chief Smith. Have our firefighters and our police officers, everything been okay with them going out on these calls and all with COVID? Have we had any problems or any things that we've had to back off of because of it when they go out as first responders? And that would be to the fire department and the police department. Had any issues from that?
No, Mr. Bailey, this is kind of what we're trained for with any bloodborne or bloodborne pathogens, communicable diseases. It's the same type scenario. It's just with the COVID pandemic, PPE and the resources and supplies, equipment, materials that we need to do our job or we can't get. So that's the problem. We're doing the same thing that we would have done if we were responded to those types of calls with disinfecting and cleaning. We're just having to do it more often than we did before. But like I've said numerous times, we've shut down doing anything in the public except for running calls. That's all we're doing. We're not getting together. We're not, we're having some Zoom classes. If they can do it online, they're doing that, but I'm not getting anybody together. I'm not taking any chances. So we're doing the best we can in that respect.
All right, the same crews that are working together, and this is just, I've had people ask me, you know, for safety factors, and I'm assuming that the same crews that work on Monday, then they're off Tuesday, Wednesday, the crews aren't swapping around from cruise to cruise is what I'm saying. This group kind of works together and they stay, and the next work day, they're back together again. I know sometimes you have people swapping the shifts and especially during the holidays. And that's what I've been asked. And I just wanted to reassure everybody that I know that yourself and Chief Smith and our city manager and all is, you know, got all the protocols in line to keep everybody safe.
Yes, sir.
We've been very blessed on, I think, outrunning this as long as we have. I really do. And it's because y'all have done such a good job monitoring too. But I did have a couple of people at church ask me, and I guess maybe because they've been firefighters or they've been police officers and they know that during the holidays somebody doesn't want to have to work on Christmas and might want to swap out with somebody. So that was why I asked this question today.
No, we got minimum staffing that we have to meet. So if somebody's not at work, somebody's got to stay and work overtime. We got a big job to do. So staffing is one of the things we have to maintain. But A shift works with A shift, B shift works with B shift, and C shift works with C shift.
The public safety departments are always year-round hazardous departments. We don't work normal. We don't, you know, if people are out or if people in quarantine, someone have to fill those positions.
That's
so
right.
It will be no perfect schedule, period. We sign up for this, we understand this. We've been through a lot of pandemics. And they understand that there's no way because as families get exposed and people are quarantined, it's going to shorten the staffs. And people are still going to regularly get sick or stay out or, you know, things are going to happen. So that's impossible to keep in line as far as one group being together all the time.
Well, that's what I told him yesterday was that, you know, I'm sure that in a perfect world, that's what we could do, but it's not a perfect world. And that other people have to step up when someone is out, like you said, when someone's not there, someone else this position still has to be done for that day. So that's kind of what I was telling them. But the chief telling me what she's telling me that A shift try to stay with A, B with B, and so forth. For my knowledge, for the people that asked me, I want to be able to call them back and tell them. And they were just concerned that, you know, not for themselves or anything. They were just concerned that the city was doing all that we could do to protect our workers. And I'd already assured them that we were doing that. We've been doing that since day one back in March when this started. Y'all had a plan that you went and put in and that it's worked very, very well and that it's worked very good. And that's why we were Zooming all of our meetings now and everything. Everybody was trying to be as protective as they could be. And
Mr. Bailey, let's talk about something else while we're on this subject, because it's a lot of things going to come up because I feel responsible for Gail's life and Steve's life. So I'm responsible for all this. But I want to tell people something. When A shift check out, when B shifts check out, when C shift check out, they go off into the world, off into a whole different world that we don't control. So Correct. People need to understand something. I'm gonna have to live with this the rest of my life. You know, the people that we've lost. It's on me, it's on my watch. But when people start coming up with, and I'm gonna say this, with ridiculous things like that, it's out of this world. I've done everything and everybody's been in this office. I did everything that I could possibly find to do to prevent from being or catching COVID. And I caught it. And I got deadly sick. And I mean, and it was hell coming back to where I'm at now. It was pure D hell to look at what was going on. And I don't say that in a bad, just a vicious way, but this is, nobody chooses a pick when it's gonna happen to them. I had a talk with Steve more than a month ago in this office that I'm in, and he let me know. He said, you know, if I catch it, what's gonna happen? He understood that, and he tried to prepare me for that. I ended up with it before that. The last conversation I had with him when he called me to tell me that he was positive. Now, this thing is tough, but it is no, and I don't want anybody, I don't wish it on anybody, and especially people with preconditions or the things that happen, even having to force my way in the hospital to force my wife there when they wouldn't take her in another hospital to make sure that she was going to be seen about because of her preconditions and stuff. You know, it is just, it's no perfect situation here to try to prevent, you know, we doing everything. We spray the buildings. People are protecting themselves with everything and stuff. But if a person hadn't encountered it or ran into it or seen that one person can have it today with mild symptoms, or another person get deathly sick and come back, like I could catch it a second time. I'm not, look at the professional man. You know, it can't run away from it. But for people to sit out there and think it's going to be perfect scenarios for those that work here, that's not going to happen, especially in public safety. So I like telling people the truth up front because, you know, I'm talking today, it could be gone next month. But at the same time, I'm not going, a lot of people, we have done and it's bad. And I had to speak and say something about it because I think we have taken all kind of preventive measures, but we have a person right now that's on a ventilator that's fighting for their life. I have 2 people that's lost their life that's very close to us. I got to carry that burden. And it's a bad situation to carry. And I worry about everybody that is here now that's coming in and out of this environment, you know, and all I could do is, you know, it's nothing I could do but pray about it. But it's a tough situation, and especially people who have lived and worked in a hazardous duty and worked around pandemics, they should know themselves. It is no perfect condition right now. It's, you know, we do every preventive measure, but hopefully we won't lose anyone else. You know, I pray to God that we won't do that, but I guess, you know, I am the responsible one for this. And like I say, I'm sorry about it. And especially with the situation with this experience level that we are going through in the loss that we've had with our people. So I don't know what answer really to give people because it's so different with everyone. You know, we got people that's recovered from it. I know people that say they had it 2 times that's recovered and stuff like that, but it don't work that way for everybody. It's different with everybody.
Well, I think the only answer is there is no answer.
Yes.
And you're exactly right. And I think that, you know, the answer I was giving everyone is that we, you know, the city, and when I say city, I'm not taking any responsibility for anything that, you know, is good about the city or bad about the city unless I do it personally. And I know none of us, you included, have been the cause of this COVID-19 pandemic. So I don't think any blame falls on anybody for any reason of that nature. And I assured everybody that since day one, back last March and April, when y'all started making plans for this, knowing what was coming, you understood. And you can only go with the information that's given. That's the only information you can work from, Mr. Hunter, is the information that's given you by the health officials and different people. And you make the calls on that. And I'm going to be one of the first ones to say that I know you being, you know, the city manager, you feel responsible for every employee at the city because, you know, they are all under your care, under your control. But it's nobody's fault. It's definitely not your fault that it's happened. It's, you know, no more so than it's the doctor's fault or the nurses that are, you know, trying to save these people in the hospitals and the doctor's offices. So it's just it's a cruel thing that everybody's going through, but it is nobody's fault. Yours, mine, the mayor's, Griff's, Arthur's, Miss Vicky. Couldn't be helped, couldn't be prevented. I think personally that y'all done more than a lot of places have done to keep it from happening. I'm not going to say we've been blessed, but we've been fortunate that we probably haven't had more because of how much contact y'all have to have with the day-to-day public within running a city. A city is a business. I got a small business over here talking maybe 10 or 20 people a day. My goodness, our city employees get out there and they talk to 2,000 people a day. So in my opinion, we've been very blessed. It hasn't been worse, and it hasn't come down as hard. And thank goodness we've got these protocols in place to try to prevent it. But it's when they leave like you said, they leave their office, they leave this car lot or whatever. You have no idea where they're going, who they're around, and whether the people there are as careful as they're wanting to be. So I want to reassure you that I know that everybody that I've come in contact with at my business here, my home, the city and everything, I really believe we've all done as much as we could do as possible, as could be done. And it's no other way to put it. It's just in God's hands when this is going to end. And it's in God's hands is how many people are going to pass from this. And it will pass, though. It will go away. I don't know when, but it will go away. But I do worry about our city employees and just want to make sure that, you know, anything that we can do to keep them from having to be around anything that can harm them. It ain't got to be this COVID pandemic. Just anything that can harm them, that, you know, they use good common sense and back away from the situation. I'd rather somebody call and chew me out about something than one of our city employees, something happened to them because they tried to do the job they were trained to do in the way that they were supposed to do it, but couldn't be done safely that day. And I really do mean that. Just, I'll take every phone call in town on chewing like that. I surely will, because I want to put our safety first for everybody in our city and our own families too. And I just hate that different ones of y'all have went through this, and hope to goodness that no one else will have to go through this. But that's all the questions I had.
All right. Thank you, Steve. One thing you did say, you know, nothing comes to stay. And I've been saying for months that, you know, it's almost inevitable that everybody doesn't get it here or there, because the way we use our hands, and you just never know. But let's just stay prayerful of it. And thank you so much, Steve. We're going to proceed on. Anything else, Council, before we get into the agenda for tomorrow? Any items to discuss or anything? Okay, so if it's the pleasure of the council, let's go over the agenda for tomorrow. And again, let me reiterate, if you have any questions or any comments or anything, we can try to say those today. As Ms. Lee said, the first meeting of the month is tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and it will be done by Zoom. I will call the meeting to order. And after that, we will call on the invocation, and Reverend Steve Pace, Somerville Baptist Church, has confirmed, correct, Melanie? By Zoom, he will do the invocation.
Yes, sir. He did confirm. He as far as I know, he'll be on Zoom to do that.
Okay, and after that, Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Bailey. He'll do the pledge. And after that, the presentations we will have for the employee service recognition, we'll call upon Stephanie Chastain and Wallace Hunter to give thanks, where it's so much honor to do so, to the people who put their time in to make our city the best it can be. So we will have the employee service recognition that will be led by Stephanie Chastain and Wallace Hunter. And we have quite a few with several years of employment here, which is great. Then after that, under the city clerk council, I will ask for a motion and a second for the approval of the regular scheduled meeting minutes for November 16th work session, as well as November 17th council meeting. Since we were all there, I will ask, at the pleasure of the council, that we take that in one vote. And I will ask for a motion and second for the work session on the 16th, as well as the council meeting on the 17th. If that's okay. That's all right?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, take one vote for that, and I ask for a motion and a second. And then we will proceed under the city council unfinished business. If there's anything between here and there or yonder, we can discuss that at that time. But we will then proceed on with the resolutions, and with the resolution, under the resolution administrations, we have a resolution in reference to the compensation and benefit agreement between the city of Phenix City and city manager Wallace B. Hunter. We will ask the clerk to read that resolution, council, and we will ask for a motion and a second on that. Okay, any comments or discussions? Question, that is in section 3.08 of our city charter too, which is the lifeblood of our city. Any comments, question, discussion? We'll ask for a motion second on that. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Then next, proceeding on the administration is a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor, city manager, and police chief to sign an MOU agreement with Central Alabama Crime Stopper. We'll ask the clerk to read that resolution, and we will ask for a motion and a second for approval. And this is something that we've done before on that, so it's pretty vanilla. But again, after the clerk read that resolution, I will ask for a motion and a second on that. Any comments, discussion, or question? All right.
Yeah, Mayor, I know this is something that we normally do, but could we have the chief to elaborate on us for tomorrow for the citizens, remind them about this type of program that we normally do and what it's for and what it entails?
Okay. Chief, eat your Wheaties in the morning.
Are we good?
Okay. Make sure you eat your Wheaties, okay? Thank you, Mr. Day. Proceeding on administration for resolutions. C is a resolution in reference to accepting a permanent drainage easement on Lot 24, Section 1, Saddlebrook line, and Section 33, Township 18 North, Range 30 East, Phenix City, Lee County, Alabama. We'll ask the clerk to read that resolution, and we will call for a motion and a second on that. Any comments, questions, or discussion? And again, a permanent drainage easement.
So this has to be done before we can put the lot up for sale, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. We want to make sure that.
Okay. Melanie, I mean, say Angel.
Yes, sir. We want to make sure
You
that
kind of faded out some. Say that again.
we want to make sure that we have this easement recorded prior to us selling the lot. So this will give us the ability to go in and do any maintenance on that drainage pipe if we need to.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Angel. Any other comments, question, or discussion? Okay, proceeding on the resolution and administration is a resolution in reference to accepting a proposal from JC Construction to construct parking spaces for the police precinct on 5th Street South in an amount not to exceed $16,301.25. We'll ask the clerk to read that resolution, and we will ask for a motion and a second for approval. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to ask a question on that one. I know we normally get 3 bids. Is that right, Angel? Or we just went ahead with this one bid and we thought that was sufficient enough?
We tried to get 2 additional bids, Mr. Day, but they did not provide us with any other information. They decided that they were going to no bid.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments or discussion?
I have one, Mayor, in relation to D and E, and you haven't gotten to that one yet. But will JC Construction be able to do both during their time of work, or is it one that they'll do and then come back and look at doing E, making the sidewalks and parking improvement at the art center?
Yes, ma'am. They'll do them in conjunction or not at the same time. They'll have to do the 5th Street South parking precinct first and then come and do the art center.
Okay.
Okay. No more questions or comment. We'll proceed on the E. Is a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to enter into an agreement with JC Construction to make sidewalk and parking improvements meeting ADA requirements at the Art Center in an amount not to exceed $20,736. We'll ask Ms. Lee to read that resolution, and we will ask for a motion and a second for approval, Council. Any comments, questions, or discussion? Okay. Proceeding on the resolution for administration. We have a resolution in reference to accepting a proposal from Forestry Consulting Incorporation to manage the harvest of trees located in the industrial park in an amount not to exceed 10% of the gross timber sales received. We will ask the clerk to read that resolution, Council, and we will ask for a motion to approve. Comments, questions, or discussion?
Yes, Mayor. Angel, I'd like to ask this question. I know I'm familiar with that property back there. because the city property adjacent to, I know the city property back there used to be, it still is adjacent to the Days property that that the Days own. Up that hill there, the additional part that we purchased, is that all the way down to where the road come around for in the industrial park?
No, sir, Mr. Day, this is the area that we're proposing to do our landfill expansion. We just want to make sure prior to us going in there and building our new landfill cell that we go ahead and try to get all the timber off of it to make back any money that we can.
It's on what I'm saying, where the industrial, going around through the industrial park, the road, come all the way around, come out back to 431. Is it still on this side? On, you know, on the same side. It don't cross the road.
No, sir, it's the piece of property right there behind the memory company.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Angel. Any other comments or questions, council?
Well, I've got just a question, because I was reading over the recommendation, you know, behind the reference resolution, and did I read it wrong that we don't think the 10% them doing the whole thing forestry consultants, then we're gonna, what was the pay as you cut proposal part of it? I didn't understand that part. If someone enlighten me what that meant. Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yes, sir. And Mr. Bailey, so in option 1, which is the lump sum sealed bid sale, that means forestry consultants would come in and they would get different companies to come in, and each one of those companies would have to go in. They would cruise the timber on their own, and then they would provide to the city along with our consultant, here's the price for what we think how much timber you've got out there. So we would just get one lump sum, and then that's how we would determine which bid, who was going to give us the most money. But if we do it by the pay as you cut, we'll get 10 different companies to come in based off of their qualifications, and then we will actually get paid for everything that they cut out of there. And it will save time, because then the companies don't have to go out there and cruise it and provide us with the bids, because we will have somebody out there on site determine how much we cut, so we can make sure that we get paid the correct price for it.
Okay. Well, that made sense to me, and that's kind of the way I understood it to be. I just want to make sure I was correct on that, because like you said, when they come in and cruise timber, they can put some of it down as saw timber, put some of it down as pulp. And then if they don't go and sell it for saw timber, you don't get as much money. If they sell it off the pup, you get less money. So this way, no matter what they sell it for, to who they sell it to, we'll still get the correct amount of money. And if they're going to get a percentage out of it, they're going to want it to bring as much as it can. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, so that makes perfect sense. And I agree with exactly the way that was kind of proposed out and written up. Yes. Thank you for enlightening me on that.
Well, Angel, let me ask you this. And all those proceeds will go back into the general treasurer, goes into help and improve the landfill or purchasing the property for the landfill. We go back into the general treasurer.
And Mr. Hunter may be able to answer that better, but our thought is that any money that we could make here would go towards the landfill expansion. We didn't have to purchase the property. We own the property already, so we were trying to save some money there. But you will have to go in and construct the landfill.
Okay.
It goes back into the general fund, and anything we had to use for the project comes back out of the general fund, so it works.
All right, thank you. Same thing. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, Angel. Any other questions or comments? All right. Next, on the police department, we have a resolution in reference to declaring 3 tasers as surplus to be destroyed. Council, I will ask the clerk to read that resolution, and we will ask for a motion and a second to approve. Comments, questions, or discussion?
Hey, Chief, let me ask you this. How do we know those things? Well, I guess that's a stupid question, but how do you know when they go bad? They don't doing what you're supposed to do? When you tase somebody?
No, we send them back to the company for refurb, and they tell us whether they're refurbishable or not, and these 3 were not. So when we sent them back for repair, they said they couldn't fix them, so they had to destroy it.
Okay, when we purchase for no certain company, did we get a replacement, or they get guaranteed? Are they guaranteed for certain?
they'll send us three replacements. But
Okay.
if they're serial
Okay.
numbered, we have to track them through the assets. So those 3 serial numbers will be taken out of the asset, and when we get the new ones, when they come in, we'll add those back to the assets.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comment, discussion, council? Okay, next we will proceed with ordinance. And then under the first one is a second reading. It's an ordinance to exempt certain items from the municipal sales and use tax during February 2021, referred to as the severe weather preparedness tax holiday. We had the first reading on the 17th of this month. We'll not ask the clerk to reread it, but council, I will ask for a motion and a second for approval. Any comments, discussion on that? Question?
No.
All right, we won't ask the clerk to reread it, but I will ask for a motion and a second. Also on the ordinance, we have the first reading. It's an ordinance in reference to the departments or offices of the city of Phenix City, Alabama. This is the first reading. That will ask for a motion to place on first reading. And we will ask the clerk to read the first reading, and we will ask for a motion and a second to, after she reads it, we will ask for a motion and a second to place on first reading. Okay?
Okay.
All right, council?
Uh,
And then,
Yeah.
I got a question on that one.
mhm.
Okay, I noticed I looked at this sheet here, and I see, I'm aware how it should be structured. I'm aware how it's structured here. I don't see our city attorney, where he fit in at on this sheet here.
Well, because he works for the mayor.
Okay,
No,
that is the reason.
I'm not actually a city employee, Mr. Day.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. That's clear that up. Thank you. Okay. Well, that's all right. Go ahead. That's all I have, man.
Okay. So we will put that on first reading and ask for a motion to approve first reading. Okay. Next on board appointments. We have the Phenix City Russell County Library Board, 2 openings. Gabriella Dubose, and I think she has agreed to serve. Am I right, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. She has
So-
agreed to serve again if y'all would like to reappoint her.
So we will ask for nominations, and someone would nominate her, if that's the case, and then we will close it out and make a motion to approve and a second to approve. So who's going to do the nomination? Yeah. So someone need to nominate.
I'll make the nomination on her if you want me to.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and second.
Okay. All right. And then Yolanda Daniel, who was elected for the school board. Of course, she can't serve on 2 boards, and I think a name was turned in, Mr. Rudolph Martin, and I think he has agreed. Am I correct, Mrs. Lee?
Actually, we had 2 names turned in, and one name was requested to be withdrawn. So the only name you have before you right now is Miss Wanda Phillips.
Okay. Okay. So we will open it up for nominations, and someone needs to nominate her, and then that would be in the form of a motion, and then I'll ask for a second to approve. Okay.
All right.
No, Mayor.
Okay.
When you open it up, I'll nominate Ms. Wanda.
Okay. What's her last name, Mrs. Lee?
Wanda
Phillips.
Phillips.
Philip. I'm just writing it on my paper here. Okay. All right. Any question, council? Comment?
And Mr. Rudolph asked for his name to be withdrawn, respectively, to where he could later on serve on another board. Is that correct?
Mr. Bailey, being truthful about it, I suggest that he's a businessman type of person. He's very involved in as far as business. I think he'll be a better fit on another board that would be more involved in the city.
Okay.
That was me doing that.
Well, that's kind of the way I understood it to be. So I'm glad to know
Yes.
that he, would help us later, possibly on a different board. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. Proceeding on the city attorney, we have a notice of claim filed by Kenneth S. Nugent, PC, on behalf of Andrew Clementovic. And at this time, the attorney, Jimmy.
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, this is the one I spoke to you about last time that was coming. I tried to contact the attorney over at Ken Nugent that had filed a claim on behalf of Mr. Clementovich. Her name's Anastasia L. Alexander. I called and left her 2 messages. She hadn't called me back, so Melanie asked me if it needed to go on the agenda, and I said yes, and my recommendation is to deny the claim. This is where the sheriff's department was in hot pursuit of a vehicle, and the vehicle was running from them. They had a wreck. We only worked the accident. We did not have any participation in the police chase. So based on that, I recommend we deny that claim.
Okay.
How could they not differentiate that, I wonder?
Sir?
How could the attorney not differentiate this? I mean, it's just a question. You don't have the answer. I was just wondering that myself. How could they
I guess because we did the
not
accident
differentiate?
report, they kind of assumed that we did it, or their client may have told them that we were chasing.
Yeah.
Well, did it
Well, I'll tell
happen
you
within the
what.
city?
I'll tell you what,
Did it happen in the city?
Graham,
Yes.
well, Mr. Graham,
Maybe that's why.
when I read that, I started reading and I said, well, now I understand why, but I don't understand. I'm like, the man, I don't understand if they got the police report and then went in detail. I don't understand why he went that far as, adding our city to it and the folks that work for the city. That's what I can understand.
I know why. One call, that's all.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're going to name everybody where they know they got somebody.
Right.
yeah,
Thank you,
that's
Jim.
right.
And under the city manager council, we have a couple of resolutions. The first one is a resolution in reference to a one-time compensation for full-time employees. We will ask the clerk to read that resolution. This is something that we do each year. So we will ask for the clerk to read that resolution, and I will ask for a motion and a second on that. Comments, questions, or discussion? Okay. Then the other one, B, under the city manager, is a resolution in reference to a one-time compensation for retirees, pensions, and beneficiaries. So I will ask the clerk to read that resolution, and we will ask for a motion and a second for approval. And this is something that most cities, if not all, don't do, but that just tell you, that we have a good city, as we've stated before, and we all know. So we will ask for a motion and approval for that one-time compensation for retirees, pensioners, as well as beneficiaries. Okay, any questions, comments, or discussion?
Only comment I have is somebody needs to make sure that everybody realizes that we probably the only city that does that.
Yeah.
It's not to toot our own horn or pat ourselves on the back, but we just need to let our people know that we care about them that much.
Yeah, we do.
And this is and this is something that we do annually. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been, ever since we've been here, they've been doing probably before then too.
We've been doing it since 2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think that everybody needs to know that, we're blessed that we can do that, but we're, the employees are blessed, to have a city manager and all that looks out for them enough to want to get that done for them each and every year.
Yeah. We should be thankful. And like we've said, we've all agreed, you have to take care of your folks.
That's right.
Biggest assets we have.
Well, and not only that, having a council that understand that and conscientious of that, because, when you have a goal to make sure, I've been at the city where we couldn't do this, worked at the city where we couldn't do things like this. And part of your goal is to wrap it around your livelihood of your employees to make sure you can take care of that along with the retirees and, like you said, the pensioners and beneficiaries. You know, you're looking at widows out there and widowers, and you're looking at people that worked here at a time where the city really struggled. And that's been a, you know, part of the ambition and everything else that we embarked on a while back to make sure that we can get this city financially sound to be able to do for people. And, you know, you're looking at being able to pay your people right, so, you know, and have salary studies to make sure you measure up to that, to take care of the things you have to do. You're looking at, like I say, and that benefits everybody, the city and stuff like that, so that you can do the thing, make sure you have right equipment to do the jobs and take care of that. So it's well-rounded in looking at what we had to do and started off doing some years ago. And I'm glad, that's one thing I'm really glad Steve was able to see, that we was able to accomplish the things that we set out to do, even with the rating of the city. It was certain things that we drove hard at to get and accomplish and make sure we had gotten there. And, you know, you're going 4-year blocks now. We used to go in 3-year blocks as far as councils in and out of the city, and you have to make modifications and adjustments throughout. So each one of those blocks, there's only a certain amount of things you're going to be able to do within there. And we've been able to do some major things over the past few councils, and making sure that we got those things and having them in line to move forward and put the city in a bracket. One thing that does bothers me, and gonna bother me, and it's something I can't do nothing about, is in getting to this point, I hope the people in the future would feel the same way that we do in the establishment of the city and try to maintain this, because as people leave here, and that work for this city, it's a lot of things that the city does and support financially for retirees that don't go along with the retirement system. That's going to be taken care of. But there's things that this city does for their retirements that a lot of cities don't do, period. Mm-hmm. So in doing things and the benefit that goes along with it, I pray and hope that people won't ever get this city in a bad financial situation to where they can't meet these, you know, goals and the things that we've been able to do for people. But it's, you know, you only can do what you can do while you're here. Yeah.
Well, we do have a lot to be thankful of and to be thankful for. I do want to say this, and you know, let's continue to be grateful and thankful. We can't do that enough, and we can't say thank you enough. And you know, we are having some trying times right now of you know, losing a key person off our team, and so we all need to be mindful. It's hard, but it's fair, and that's a good God we serve. But that's why we should take it that there, you know, it's no time for foolishness. Yeah. There's no time for stuff that is not wholesome and real and true. And that's why I'm grateful for this council and for the leadership of the city and the department head, that, you know, we all have good hearts for the right reason. And Steve certainly had that. So let's just take this. It's hard, but let's just take it and learn from it, and, you know, be more gracious and thankful. And it's no time for no foolishness. It's about truly about taking care of the people of this community, of this city. It's about the people's business. And I hope this just helped enamel us even more with the situation that we're in and losing one of our team members. So with that, anything else? Anyone? City manager, anything else?
No, sir.
We'll have a chance tomorrow to, if you want to say something, if you don't say it now, you can say it tomorrow. But
thank you, I appreciate it.
If there's not anything from anyone.
Let me say something, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I just want to comment on the Christmas decorations on Broad Street that Parks and Rec, Todd and them. They look outstanding. They're very nice. The poles, the way they trimmed them out this year, they kind of changed things up to put everybody in the best as we can in the Christmas spirit with what's going on with this COVID-19. But take time to look around town down at the art park, down Broad Street here, up around the parking garage. Notice that it's Christmas. Notice why we celebrate that time of the year, and just you know, kind of get that feeling started in you, and let's get some smiles back on our faces, and get some memories back in our hearts, and learn to share with each other. But I just want to make sure that everybody realize they really got the town looking good downtown, and I for one appreciate it, because I get to look at them all day long every day, when they're not turned on and when they are turned on. So I really like them, and I do appreciate the effort they went through this year. They've been putting these things out for about a week now, and they're doing an outstanding job. The people are that's actually doing it. So make sure Parks and Rec gets a shout out for that, and the people that are actually doing the work, let them know how good it looks and how much I'm sure everyone appreciates it.
Well,
Thank you,
okay.
Mr. Bailey.
Thank you all so very, very much. Until we meet tomorrow, by the grace of God, we see everyone tomorrow, and we do stand. Thank you all.